after the game on Christmas. But we got to talk Broncos. We got to talk about how this game gets decided. What version of the Denver Broncos show up? Really, when I ask that question, I'm saying, what version of Sean Payton shows up and what his play calling will look like? Well, if the weather's bad and the chances of rain is, 50% and then gets higher and higher throughout the game, really fortunate this is not a 5:30 start and a 2:30 start because it does get nasty as the evening rolls on. But you're going to have to deal with elements. It is going to be wet. It is going to be rainy. It is going to be a little bit cold. Is that the factor that actually makes Sean Payton run the football? We go back to that Week 4 game a lot at New York when Bo Nix looked bad, and I keep thinking about what Mike Kliss told us yesterday, that shot put throw to Cortland Sutton from Bo. I expect Bo to be better, but I would really expect his coach to do him a much bigger favor this week, which is not abandon the run game, which he did a week ago. I'm actually, in a weird way, it's really weird to say, I'm like, you know what? I hope it is raining hard, cats and dogs, so that Sean actually has to run the football.
Yeah, I hope it's a mud kicker game. Kev, at some point in today's show, I need you to play Mud Kicker by Skid Row. That's what I named my Jeep, and it's radio friendly. But yeah, this is a mud kicker game. You got to get out there and you got to get dirty, and you got to go places that you didn't think you could go. And you've got to ram it up in there, and you've got to just keep grinding. And if you get stuck, well, guess what? You ever get stuck before?
Oh, yeah.
You know what you do?
Mm-hmm.
Back up, go back in. It's like me in this stupid chair and this broken wheel. It's like a grocery cart that has the wheel that goes the one way, this chair. But like, you just back up and you do it again. You keep ramming that thing down their throat. And your best defender this week, and I got a lot to say about Vance Joseph, and I got to tell you why Riley Moss is maybe Nikola Jokic, and that might not be a good thing for the Broncos.
Uh-oh.
I'll explain that in a little bit. But damn it, your number one defender is Audric Estime because he's got the power. I don't trust Javonte. Sean does, and I guess that's all that matters. I don't trust Javonte. I can't say I really fully trust Audric Estime, but I want to see it. What we've seen has looked pretty good. He's not fumbling anymore. So let him run. Let him run it up in there and then keep doing it and give him 20 carries. That's the number. Not 10, not 7. Oh, he's got 5, everybody. You just need to have 20 carries so that you can dominate. And the way that you play defense is you keep Joe Burrow wearing the jacket on the sideline, staying dry. Mm-hmm. That's how you play defense against this team, because I'm not sure if Vance Joseph and his magical game plans are going to be just automatically cured because Riley Moss is back and they're going to play more man.
Yeah, look, I like what you're saying. And if you wanted 20 carries out of Audric Estime a week ago when they played Thursday Night Football in LA against the Chargers.
Didn't get it.
And they didn't get it. Had he got the 20 carries, he got to 9 and had 44 yards. Got to 20. Well, what does that mean? He's going to give you 100 yards and be the first 100-yard Broncos rusher in 34, 35 games, whatever that number is at now. So I'm with you. 20 should be the number, and it just can't be. I mean, man, if I watch Javonte Williams fall down for 2 yards and then get another opportunity the very next play, I might have to throw a brick through my television.
Yeah, I know pass protection is important. We talked to Mike Kliss yesterday, and that's what he said, because I asked, why does he trust Javonte? And he went on and on about pass protection. Yeah, I get it, but Bo Nix gets rid of the ball. And this isn't the type of game where you're going to take a 7-step drop and wait for that downfield target to come open. You're going to get rid of it quick. And you're going to hope to work within elements, but that means it's Audric Estime time. It's run the ball time, regardless of who it is. And you've got to make sure you're covering for your defense until they prove that they're back. A number from Mike Kliss. The Denver defense allowed 16 points per game in the first 12. The last 3, they've allowed 26 points per game. It's not great, Bob. And Vance Joseph, we had the quote, we reacted, I lost my mind, when he's like, yeah, it's tough to play defense in December. Well, no, it's not. I mean, if you play the Texans, it's real easy to play defense. But, like, this is a challenge that I'm not sure Vance Joseph is up to the task based on the last 3 weeks where they've not doubled, but they've added 10 more points per game to what they allow. That's not how you win to get in the playoffs.
Wow. And I wonder, I think I even asked you this yesterday, like, can you see a shootout situation? Yeah, we did, because we went over the Bengals scoring numbers. They've only scored less than 24 4 times in the entire season. I don't think that's the formula for success. I don't think I can't sit here and tell Broncos country like, oh, no, you can go and win a shootout in Cincinnati. You can go win 41-38. I don't think that's the case. I think it's exactly the formula you just laid out. You control the clock. You run the damn football. That helps you control the clock. Then it sets up play action in the third and fourth quarter when you can take a shot across the middle of the field or deep downfield with a guy like Marvin Mims. The way the Broncos win this game, if they're going to find a way to win, it's 2017. It's 24-20. That's how they win this kind of game, controlling the clock, running the football. Bo's numbers might not be great, but he shouldn't have to throw the football a lot to win this game. The way they can win the game.
Don't get offended, Kev, but Bo Nix cannot win in a shootout against Joe Burrow. Not yet.
Well, I was
Not yet.
Just run the football, just convert on third down. That's all we need Bo to do. That's where you're going to earn your money this week.
Bo can do that.
Well, then just do that this week. Well, I'm not going to ask you to throw for 300 yards.
No.
Win the line of scrimmage, defensive line and offensive line, and just convert on third down and keep Joe off the field. It's kind of like when teams would play Manning and Brady. You don't want those guys on the field. That's how you got to have this mindset.
Okay, you got to cover up for that defense, man. And when I say the words or the phrase, Riley Moss might be the Broncos version of Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
That sounds good, right?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, my God, the Serbian basketball god, the best player on the planet, the top 15 NBA all-time. That sounds great. Here's the problem. When Nikola missed some games and he came back, what did the rest of his team do?
They geared down.
So with Riley Moss back, my fear is that some of the defenders, because Jerry Jeudy was beating Levi Wallace, but he was also beating Brandon Jones and P.J. Locke and Jaquan McMillan. He was beating everyone not named Pat Surtain in that secondary. So my fear is, and I hope I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, well, go ahead and at me, bro. But my fear is that the rest of the defenders in the secondary, not named Pat Surtain, will go, Riley Moss is back.
That's a great point.
And that's dangerous against Joe Burrow. By the way, it doesn't matter if he shadows Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase could have 150 yards with Surtain on him because Joe Burrow does not care about your coverage. He doesn't care about your blitz. Vance Joseph, he doesn't care about your man. He doesn't care about your zone. He doesn't care about your disguises. Joe Burrow is the ultimate. We love Jameis. We love Jameis. He plays Dilligout football.
Hell yeah, we love Jameis.
We love Jameis because he's a national treasure. Because when he says stuff like this,
He's always prepared.
I just think we were prepared. You know, one thing my trainer, he told me, he said, what did he say? He just told us to be prepared.
well,
Wobble with me, wobble with me, wobble with me.
Joe Burrow's going to be prepared, and he's got amazing talent. Because similar to Jameis, and Kev, how much did Jameis have? I know 200 went to Jerry Jeudy, but what was Jameis Winston's total in that game?
6,432.
I think Joe Burrow might have 6,000 yards this week because he plays Dilligout football. He does not care. He does not care. Throw the kitchen sink at him, and he does not care. Joe Burrow's going to fight, and you got to cover up for that by running the ball and having sustained drives. I'm sorry, but that's where this defense is at. This isn't any, you got to apologize to Vance Joseph. I think it's one of the dumbest kind of trends that I've seen in sports radio or podcasts or whatever. I blame fanboy media, but I also blame people trying to suck up to the coaching staff. No, when VJ does great, and I like VJ. I think VJ and I get along great. But when he's not doing good things and he says it's tough to play football in December, I'm going to take issue with that. I don't need to apologize to VJ. I'm going to see him next week. You know what I mean? We're going to talk about shoes. We're going to talk about whatever we talk about. Like, and again, I like Vance Joseph, but man, right now he's got to get back in my good graces.
I think that's more than fair. I mean, you mentioned the numbers. How about the other side of this? We talked about how good Cincy's defense has been over the that same stretch that we talked about the Broncos being bad. In that same stretch, they're tied for second in the NFL in takeaways. They have 13 takeaways since week 11. I mean, Bo takes care of the football, but Jaleel, Javonte, we're talking about Audric getting opportunities. Well, Audric's early problem was fumbling the football. They're ball hawks over the last 5 weeks. You're going to have to keep an eye out for that. Ball security matters in this moment. We talked about the weather and preparing for the weather. Sean Payton we talked about the balls and bringing the wrong footballs yesterday, and they weren't the weather footballs, and that made it slippery for Bo Nix. Well, Peyton talked yesterday about the weather and how they are preparing for it this time around.
Look, right now, the latest 60 degrees at kickoff, 50-some% chance of rain. That's going to be increasing as the game goes on. Yeah, we prepped for it all week. Everything from not wearing the shields, that get fogged up, understanding, every player who wears gloves will have 10 sets. Like in F1, you change tires. Those gloves from a series go, get a new pair on. Special teams, understanding coverage, wind, ball security, all those things.
All right, so he mentions a couple of things. The ball security, I love that he just said it as we were talking about what the Bengals have done the last 5 or 6 weeks. He doesn't mention Bo there. I don't assume Bo's going to start with the glove, but do you think we see him at all if the rain does start to come down?
I think they'll try anything. I think you're at that point with the playoffs on the line. You've got to try anything, whether that's glove, no glove, whatever. That's what they're going to do. The excuse from the Jets game, I don't really like that talk. Well, we didn't have the right balls and our balls
I hate
or whatever.
that talk.
Yeah, it's like, well,
you're
again,
a professional football team.
right?
You can get the right balls in about 6 hours.
And blaming the poor kid who looks like little skinny Greg Dulcich.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they doing?
I like that kid.
Why would you say that into a microphone? Oh, well, we didn't have our balls right. Like, we didn't prepare. Well, then do it. You're a $1 billion franchise. You're playing in weather that you knew was going to be there.
And I heard Kyle Reese and James were sitting in for the drive yesterday.
Shout out, Kyle.
Kyle, former high school football coach, still does his thing in that world. But he said, I went to a coaching, I don't even know what it was. Like, Sean Payton invited high school coaches to come down to Broncos Park, and then powered by Common Spirit, and they had a conversation with him. And one of the things that he said that stuck out to Kyle, and Kyle shared with the audience, which I was a part of, was Sean saying you got to be maniacal about the details, a maniac about the details, and you can't care what other people say about it. All right, so you weren't crazy. You weren't a maniac about the details, and you survived, but you didn't look good in that Week 4 game. I hope he is a maniac to the details, and also some of the details include running the football, so he's not a maniac 100% of the time.
Yeah, be that maniac with the ground game this week because you're going to need help to slow down Joe Burrow in any way that you possibly can.
Mm-hmm. In fact, here is Sean talking more about the details.
I think it's a big part of everything, like every minute detail to where it's almost obsessive. And I think that's something I learned over the years.
I have to disagree with you there, Mr. Payton. You're not obsessive. You didn't learn anything. Maybe you can over this week, but you're not obsessive over the details if you don't focus on the run game the way he is not focused on the run game.
And then just forget about it. You know what I mean? You can't forget to run the ball. And that's just what they've done. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope they run it down their throat. I hope they get their first 100-yard rusher. Can I predict that? I don't know. I'm not offended if somebody asks me. Like, okay, yeah, it should be great. But until they do it, I'm not going to rely on it. I'm not going to count on it. But that's your key to success. I always tell you on Game Plan Friday, how do you beat this team? The Game Plan Friday is Mud Kicker. The game plan is Audric Estime. Now, I believe Marvin Mims on an end around. Marvin Mims is a runner this week because you know where you're going as an offensive player. As a defensive player, you don't. If it's a muddy track, even though it's a muddy track, and that's going to slow down a guy like Marvin Mims, he's still really sickness with the quickness.
Yeah.
So I think Marvin Mims as a runner on a end around and Audric Estime up the gut. This is the most simple game plan that you will face. It's like facing me in Madden. I'll give you a tip.
All right.
I'm going to run it down your throat, and I'm really not going to do much else. Mm-hmm. And the way you win in Mutt, which is funny because everyone goes pass. The way you win is actually just slow it down. Mm-hmm. Run the ball. Mm-hmm. Guys who get frustrated, I'm going to get MF'd on my headset all the time playing Xbox because I'm running the ball.
Yeah.
I want Sean Payton. I want Bengals fans. I want the jungle, right? I want those guys to be MFing Sean Payton because, they're just running. We can't even get the ball. Joe Burrow's cold on the sidelines. Yeah, do that.
There's nothing more I love than getting MF'd on a video game. Or like I always tell them, you hear that? You hear the booze? They're playing my theme music right now.
Play my theme music.
I love it. Yeah, they need to run the ball.
Run through a face, then you don't have to worry about him no more.
That's exactly right. We need Marshawn advice to Sean Payton.
Thank you.
Can they hire Marshawn Lynch as the running game coordinator? That's what I would actually really enjoy.
Marshawn can do whatever he wants, man. He can do whatever he wants because I think his game plan would be simple. Can you imagine being in like a meeting with Marshawn and he's sitting around?
Say, hey, what are we going to do? Well, I think he wants to run the football.
Over and over and over and.
Why does coach only say that? And what's that smell?
Yeah.
Either somebody throwing a party or someone needs to do their shirt laundry.
It always smell like pine cones in Uncle's house, right? So, yeah, run the dang football. All right, one more from Sean Payton talking yesterday to the media. Well, we know they're more prepared this time around for the rain. What are you doing to prepare?
Already done it. Buckets, like as wet as you can make them. And then receivers and how you handle you just have to adjust. You know, the end zones in this field are slick. If you watch the tape, the way they're logoed, I've seen 3 or 4 different players slip, and it changes maybe thoughts with what you want to do in the tight red route-wise. You know, I've watched guys try to run double moves and slip because of the paint, all of that.
All right, so kind of talking about what you just hinted at there of like, all right, route running gets impacted here, but you're 100% right on that, Cecil. It is obviously advantage offense because you simply know where you're going, where that plant foot is going to turn your body, where the defender does not have that luxury.
Well, and for those who aren't familiar, I'll show you a picture right now of what their end zones look like. Because some end zones, they just say Chiefs or whatever. Their end zone is striped.
Oh, it's paint all over the place.
There's paint everywhere in that end zone.
There's actually not a grass. It's all painted.
Yeah, there's
not
no
just green in it. Yeah.
whatsoever. So it is all orange and black and a little bit of white for the Bengals outline of the black Bengals wording in the end zone. So that's maniacal about the details. Here's the main problem with Sean Payton, and get as offended as you like. And by the way, what's up, YouTube?
Hi, YouTube.
I am Cecil Lammy. You're seeing me right now.
See, proof. It's
I
him.
don't sound like me, but I am me. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. We appreciate you for watching. It's maniacal about the details. Here's the caveat that Sean doesn't say, and I'm going to say it, and people are going to get offended as you like. You have to be maniacal in the game. He's maniacal in preparing,
Right.
and then he gets to the game, he's like, what? Run the ball.
Absolutely.
Who wrote this on my play sheet? Run it. What's that mean? You have to be maniacal within the game. And so far with Sean Payton, I heard James Marilat, who we love, he was questioning, like, I'm not sure Sean Payton's the guy. No. Let's stop that. And James, I appreciate you.
Or you could throw D'Amico Ryans right back in his face who he wanted, and there's questions about D'Amico.
Yeah, there's questions about D'Amico. There's questions about Jim Harbaugh or whoever. Like, let's stop that conversation.
I don't know that I have a lot of questions about Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, there's questions. There's just
Well,
not
right,
questions about his coaching.
Right.
I'd say squash that. Sean Payton's the guy. But, Sean, you've got to be better in game. You can be maniacal as you want. You can play against a computer and Madden all you want, but you're playing against me, that's a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could be maniacal we had a great week of practice, isn't that what Vance Joseph used to say?
Yeah.
You could have a great week of practice and get your ass kicked on Sunday or Saturday in this case. This could be 41-10. I'm not predicting that. We'll give our predictions later. Mm-hmm. But this could be a 41-10 game. You're facing that type of offense, and this team struggles against players or teams with multiple playmakers and speed.
I think
What do the Burrows? See, they're not even the Bengals. What do the Burrows have? Playmakers and speed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
And what was the Ravens score? 41-10 with
Yep.
those same sort of options, weapons
Yep.
on the outside.